As weird as this WrestleMania build has been so far, with names being thrown around for matches, I mean, my God, Stone Cold Steve Austin possibly coming back to the ring. Logan Paul is officially in a match at WrestleMania. Johnny Knoxville looks to be in a match at WrestleMania. Now comes a report that 76-year-old Vince McMahon, who last stepped into the ring for a match against CM Punk 10 years ago, is possibly stepping back into the ring at WrestleMania this year against Pat McAfee. Now I've heard it all. John Pollock of Post Wrestling had the story on Friday after the announcement was made on SmackDown that Vince McMahon will be appearing on Pat McAfee's show live in studio this Thursday at noon Eastern. His show streams live on YouTube, so you can watch it there. It'll be the first time that Vince is sitting down for an interview like this since the live podcast he did with Steve Austin on the WWE Network in 2014, which was quite the memorable interview, not always for the right reasons. But multiple sources informed Pollock that McAfee was set for something on the show involving McMahon, and when speaking with a source on whether or not it would be billed as an official match on the Mania card, they were told, quote, most likely. Now, this comes after Brad Shepard had tweeted that he was told McMahon was considering an in-ring return at WrestleMania. He did tweet about it first, and it looks like there is smoke to the fire. The last time Vince McMahon stepped into the ring at WrestleMania specifically for a match was that terrible match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 26. And you know me, I mean, it's not very often you're going to hear me use the words terrible match and Bret Hart in the same sentence. You know, Bret was limited in what he could do. Vince is always limited in what he can do. The point of it was just Bret getting revenge for Montreal, but it was bad. And so the idea of Vince McMahon, a decade after that, getting back into the ring for a match is hideous. That sounds like a hideous, hideous idea. And there is no way that he ends up wrestling. There is no way that Vince McMahon is getting back into the ring for an actual full match. It will end up being his adopted son, Austin Theory, wrestling on his behalf. It has to be. It has to be. I mean, he's been mentoring the kid now for months. He almost died at the Elimination Chamber taking an F5 off the top of one of the pods. He was the last one in there with Brock Lesnar. Gotta be a spot there for Austin Theory. I mean, can we get Goldberg back? If it's not, can we get Goldberg back? I can't even believe I'm even saying that. I just used my voodoo powers to dispose of him. Now I have to look up how to undo a voodoo curse. I'll take 55-year-old Bill Goldberg over 76-year-old Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. You know, McAfee, the sad thing is McAfee is actually really good. If you saw his match with Adam Cole in NXT, you know, he was moving around and bumping around in there like a pro. But he was also working with Adam Cole, who, in case you didn't know, is a very good professional wrestler. It would be very different in the ring working against a septuagenarian. Look it up. if you're not familiar with that word, I knew some people would not be. But I said, what is it? I know an octogenarian is in the 80s, but what is it? What is a 70-year-old? And it's a septuagenarian. That's what Vince McMahon is. Good luck spelling that, by the way. McAfee against Theory might actually be really good. You know, Theory, I said, look, I was joking before, but Theory deserves a good spot just for taking that F5 off the pod in the chamber match. And I like what I've seen from him in the ring over these past several months. He's had the chance to get into the ring. He got into the ring with Big E for the WWE Championship. We've seen him in the ring with Big E. We've seen him in the ring with other major names as well, AJ Styles among others. And he's very good. But they are really desperate to sell out these two shows. You know, they already have around 50,000 tickets out for each night, but it's a big building. Fits a lot more than 50,000 people. There is something very poetic about Vince McMahon looking at the WrestleMania card and thinking that nobody is over enough on their own to sell tickets, so he'll just have to start his own program. These people can't sell tickets, So I'll just have to do it myself, damn it. And show him how it's done. I am looking forward to the interview on Thursday, though, to see if he mumbles through the entire thing. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat, for having me on. Thank you. I mean, maybe he'll be more relaxed. Maybe we'll see and hear a side of Vince McMahon that we're not used to seeing. Because when McAfee has had wrestlers on the show before, or wrestling personalities on the show before, he's had Michael Cole on the show, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. The Brock Lesnar interview, he opened up in a way that we've never seen before. That was one of the best interviews I've ever seen. Easily the best Brock Lesnar interview. So maybe we'll see a more relaxed side of Vince McMahon. We'll see. They're going to shoot the angle on Thursday to kickstart this entire thing. So on next week's podcast, on 746, I'll have a better sense of where this thing is going here. I don't know what is going to be the catalyst for this issue between them, if it's going to be just an offhand remark that McAfee makes that kind of sets Vince off, or if Vince is going to show up and say at the end of the interview, hey, Pat, I have a bone to pick with you. And then we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Dave Meltzer says that Vince McMahon against Pat McAfee as a singles match is what is listed internally for WrestleMania. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. The way they change things all the time, I mean, what's listed internally 5 weeks before the show is going to change 3 or 4 times between now and then. And if it is Theory against McAfee or somebody other than Vince against McAfee, they could just be listed that way to swerve people. They haven't even shot the angle yet. But I can't believe the state of things right now that we're even talking about the possibility of Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin both potentially returning to the ring at WrestleMania. What is going on here?